Hello dear students. So in the last class we had seen the Barth-Savart law and also determined the expression for magnetic field intensity due to straight conductor. Okay. So today we shall discuss the magnetic field intensity for some different current elements or the current configurations. So today we shall discuss the magnetic field intensity due to the current carrying circular loop. Okay. So today we shall discuss the magnetic field intensity due to current carrying circular loop. Current carrying circular loop. Okay. So for this we will consider a current carrying circular loop. Okay. So let us suppose we have the three coordinate axes x, y and z. All are mutually perpendicular to each other. Okay. Now let us consider a circular current carrying loop. Okay, which is lying in the xy plane. So let us consider a circular loop, okay, which is lying in the xy plane, and let us consider an element. So let this be the element dl, and the current I is passing through this current carrying circular loop. So for this element idl we can consider, and this is rho. Okay, the line joining or the vector from origin to this dl is your rho. Okay, so let us consider that at this point p, okay, whose coordinate is 0 0 and h, because it is lying on the z axis, so obviously x and y coordinates will be 0 and there will be the z coordinate, and the z coordinate is h at this point p, and at this point p you have to calculate the magnetic field intensity due to this current carrying circular loop. But for the whole loop, before we determine the magnetic field intensity at this point, for whole loop we will consider an element. Okay, so we will first determine the magnetic field intensity at point p due to this element, and then later on we will integrate it for the whole circular loop. Okay, so so let's join this p point to this current element dl. Okay, so if we join this, then this will be your r vector. Okay, and this height is how much? It is h, and this distance between this point to the element is r, and from the origin to the element it is rho. So it is in the triangular, we can say for this rho is increasing in the direction, and the resultant of this rho and r is this h. Okay, so we will have the two components. Okay, one will be along this, that is dh rho direction. Okay, why we are considering dh? Because we are considering for the element dl, and another one will be in this direction, that is dhz. Okay, because it is lying along z axis. this will see how it is coming. So the magnetic field intensity dH, magnetic field intensity dH at point P, whose coordinate is 0 0 h, due to the current element, due to the current element IDL is given by, so we know this formula, this dH equals to how much? IDL cross of this R and upon 4 pi R cube. Okay, now here this DL equals to how much? So DL equals to, if you remember, this one is your phi angle. So if we remember, let's say we have this kind of thing, and this is your DL, let's say, and this one is rho, and this is your what? D phi angle. Okay, so what will be the length of this arc? DL will be rho into D phi. Okay, so it is rho D phi. Now what is R vector? R is what? This R vector means the position vector of this P point minus position vector of this DL. Okay, so P point is how much? It is 0 0 h minus this DL is lying in the xy plane, so obviously it will have the x and y coordinates. So here we can write x y 0. Okay, so it is coming out to be x minus x. Okay, let's say ax minus y ay and plus h az. So if you take this minus sign common, then it is how much? X ax plus y ay, okay, and plus h a z. So this term x ax plus y ay can be written as, see, this rho is the resultant of this x and y, so we can, in place of this, we can write this minus rho a rho and plus h a z. Okay, now we have to perform here dl cross r. Okay, so what will be this dl cross r? Now because we have to calculate the magnetic field intensity through this formula, so we are making in we are substituting the terms as required in this formula according to this formula. So we have determined this dl, everything we are considering in the cylindrical coordinate system. Okay, this r we have determined, rq accordingly we can take this magnitude, but dl cross r again we have to consider. So dl cross r means the cross product of the two vectors. Okay, so it can be done using this matrix form a rho a phi and this az. Okay, so what is the dl vector? Rho d phi. Okay, so rho d phi and the direction will be along a phi. Okay, so remaining terms are 0, so 0, and here it is rho d phi and it is 0. Now cross r vector. R vector along rho it is minus rho, so we'll write along rho it is minus rho. Now along z it is h, so along z it is h, and along a phi there is no component, so 0. Now we'll solve this determinant, so we will get this rho h d phi and the direction is a rho. Okay, and plus this rho square d phi and the direction is az. So this dl cross r we have achieved. Okay, now you see this rho h d phi, the direction is a rho, and this rho square d phi, the direction is az. So obviously it is clear that this h, this dh is going to have the two components, means along a rho and along az. That's why we have written here dh rho and dh z. Okay, because this dh is going to have the two components, one along the rho direction and another one along the z direction. Okay, so that's why this dl cross r is indicating the direction of this dh rho, dh, due to that current element. Okay, so we will now substitute this dl, this r and this dl cross r into this equation. Okay, let's say put it as 1. So we'll substitute everything in equation 1. So hence your equation 1 will be this dh equals to I upon, because ideal, so I upon this 4 pi, and here it is rho square plus h square, and inside it is rho h d phi a rho and plus rho square d phi a z. Okay, so that's why if we consider this term multiplied by this along this arrow direction, and this term multiplied by this along az direction, so as a whole we can write this dh equals to what? Dh along rho direction. Okay, so this particular component will be what? Rho, and another one is dh z a z. Okay, now one is along the rho direction and one is along the z direction. Okay, now this is the radial component. Okay, this is the radial component. So if we have the structure something like this, and we have the current carrying conductor here, and we have to consider the p point, okay, for this element, and we have this dh rho and this dh z along this z direction. Okay, so if the element is here, it is along this direction. So if the element will be diametrically opposite, obviously it will be in this direction. So for every current element there will exist a opposite element on this circular current carrying conductor, which will cancel the components. Okay, so for this, if the direction is this, so for this element the direction will be opposite. Let's say for this we are considering the direction is this side, so at the diametrically opposite end, for this it will be opposite. So for each element, the next element diametrically opposite to it will cancel out. So this dh rho will be, as a whole, if we consider, this whole will be cancelled out due to this equal and opposite components. Okay, so only this dhz will be accounted, and this particular term becomes 0. Okay, because every component is being cancelled by the another component which is 180 degree apart. Okay, so the radial components produced by this current element pairs 180 degree apart cancel. Okay, it cancel each other. Fine. So contributions along this A row add up to 0. So now if we want to determine this H, so this DH can be determined. How we can determine this DH? By integrating. So simply we are integrating it, and this DHZ component is now in picture and it should be integrated. Okay, so what is DHZ? So this term is 0. So now this I upon 4 pi rho square plus h square multiplied by this rho square d phi along AZ. Only this will be accounted. Okay, so here we'll have this I rho square d phi upon this 4 pi rho square plus h square to the power 3 by 2. Okay, so the integration has to be done with respect to this phi. The direction is AZ, but there is no term related to phi, so all other terms are constants, so we can take it out, and for the phi, with respect to phi only will integrate. Okay, and the limit will be 0 to 2 pi. So if we integrate it, the remaining things will come. So I rho square, and for this d phi the integration will be phi, and if we put the limits it will be 2 pi. So here it will be 2 pi and upon 4 pi rho square plus h square power 3 by 2. The direction is along AZ. Okay, so this 2 pi can be cancelled with 2. So the final expression, will be H equals to I rho square upon 2 this rho square plus h square and power 3 by 2, and this is along this AZ direction. Okay, so this is the final expression for magnetic field intensity due to a circular current carrying conductor. Next, we will discuss the magnetic field intensity due to current carrying solenoid. Okay, so for the solenoid, what is solenoid? Solenoid is a long coil with large number of turns, and the length is very high as compared to the radius. Okay, so now we will consider the expression for this magnetic field intensity due to a current carrying solenoid. Okay, so solenoid is something like this, a coil with large number of turns, okay, with this length, and let's say this is the area of cross section or the radius. The radius of solenoid is this, and this L for the solenoid is very much larger than this A. Okay, this is the necessary condition for a coil to be solenoid. Means every coil cannot be said as a solenoid. Only those coils which has a large number of turns, let's say it has a number of turns, and the length of the solenoid is very large as compared to its radius. Okay, so for the solenoid, we consider one thing that this n, your n equals to small n equals to capital N upon this L, means the number of turns upon length of the solenoid. That is, we can write it as number of turns per unit length, per unit length. Okay, so for deriving the expression, let us draw solenoid. So let this be our x-axis and let this be the z-axis. Only two axes we are taking for this purpose, and let the solenoid is like this. So if the current carrying conductor is there, or the solenoid is carrying a current, so obviously if it will be entering inside, so we'll represent it by a cross. Okay, see, it is like this. Okay, so at one point it is entering, at one point it is coming out. So for outward direction we'll use this convention, and for inward we will use this convention. Okay, and let us consider a point P. Okay, let this is a point P at which we have to calculate, okay, the intensity to this current carrying solenoid, and this is the radius. Obviously this one is the radius and this one is the length of this solenoid. Okay, so we'll consider this P point and join the two extremes or the two ends of the solenoid with this point, and simultaneously we'll consider a small element. Okay, let us consider a small element dl. Sorry, it is on the z axis, so we'll, this axis is along the z, so we'll consider this dz. Okay, now let's join this. So, and the angle made by this is your theta. So angle made by the two extremes is theta 1 and theta 2. Okay, and if we join this, so this will be your z. Okay, so theta 1 and theta 2 are the angles subtended at P by the two end terms. Okay, now the magnetic field intensity H at P by an element of the solenoid of length dz is given by dHz. Okay, and this is equal to IDL A square upon 2 into A square plus Z square to the power 3 by 2. This is the same expression which we have derived just now in the case of circular current carrying conductor. So this solenoid is also made up of various turns of this circular conductor. Okay, so for one, if we consider this dz, let us say one element. So for one element, obviously there will be one circular conductor. So for circular conductor we have derived this expression, only there was a difference that it was rho there. So here the radius is a, so we will replace this rho by a. So we will write this. Okay, but this dl equals to what? N dz. Why? Because this n equals number of turns upon L. and if the length is dl, then obviously it will be what, n into dz. Okay, so here we will write n upon l into dz. Okay, so this is your dl. Fine. Now what will be dhz? So dhz will be equal to I a square n dz. We are substituting this value, okay, and upon 2 into a square plus z square to the power 3 by 2 and put it as equation 1. Okay, now since what is tan theta here? See, if we see tan theta, then this in this triangle, okay, so tan theta will be what? This perpendicular upon this base. So what is perpendicular? Perpendicular is your a. This height is similar to this height, so it is a and upon z. So tan theta equals to a upon z. Now from here, what will be z? So z will be equal to a cot theta. Okay, and if we consider dz upon d theta, then dz equals to how much? It is minus a cosec square theta into d theta. Okay, so let this be our second equation. Okay, now why we are deriving all this? Because we have to solve this, and for determining the total magnetic intensity, you'll have to integrate it. So at a later stage, we should have the what, substitutions with us. Okay, now this dhz equals to I a square n to minus a cosec square theta into d theta. Okay, and upon 2 times this a square plus a square cot square theta to the power 3 by 2. Now this dhz equals to how much? It is, so if we multiply this, minus a square into a, it is a cube n cosec square theta d theta upon 2 into, if we take this a square common, so 1 plus cot square is how much? Cosec square, so a square cosec square theta to the power 3 by 2. Okay, so this dhz will be equal to, so this aq can be cancelled out because here it is power 3 by 2. So if this 2 will be cancelled out, so this aq will be cancelled out. So we have this minus n I upon 2 d theta upon this cosec theta. Okay, so this finally this dhz equals to how much? Minus n I upon 2, and 1 upon cosec theta is sin theta, so sin theta d theta. Okay, now for determining this whole magnetic intensity Hz, we need to integrate on the both sides. So Hz upon integration, it is Hz, and here it is minus ni upon 2, and we will integrate it in terms of theta. So the limit will be from theta 1 to theta 2. And what was the theta 1 and theta 2? These were the angles subtended at P by the two ends of the solenoid. Okay, so So theta 1 to theta 2 we have to integrate, and here it is sine theta d theta. Okay, so this h is equals to ni upon 2, and the integration is what? This minus cos theta, so minus minus plus, so it is cos theta, and the limit is from theta 1 to theta 2. So from here this h will be how much? H will be equal to ni upon 2 and this cos theta 2 minus this cos theta 1. Okay, and the direction will be az. Okay, because if we write hz, or if we simply write h, then we need to put the direction az. Okay, now substituting here, if we substitute what, n equals to n upon L, means number of turns per unit length equals to number of turns upon the total length. So this h will be equal to ni upon 2L. Okay, and inside bracket is cos theta 2 minus cos theta 1. Okay, and the direction is z. So this is the final expression for magnetic field intensity due to a current carrying solenoid.